Sure. Good evening.
Your Highness? Good evening. Is it bad for me to admit that I didn't think you were a devout man?
Well, you wouldn't be incorrect.
I see.
Are you yourself a devout woman?
I suppose I'm not sure.
Perhaps you'll agree on my terminology then.
Which
I'm
is?
more so a lizard believer was the term that I believe I gave myself as a child. To only pray in the eye of the storm. I don't think the old blood, I don't think near anything for the blood that graces my lips day by day. I don't pray and thank and appreciate every night that I'm able to close my eyes in a safe bed with a roof over me. Yet, when the walls shake and the windows are clouded by thick, dense layers of snow, that's when I suppose I have the nerve to call upon something, anything.
Nothing more devout than a dying man, I suppose.
Poetic.
I suppose I can't say that I eternally live in fear of a higher being. I do not know if there is one or not. I think rather I live in fear that there isn't one. That we are just cosmic coincidences, I suppose. Here for nothing.
Suppose that is the bit that always frightened me. Perhaps less so now, but being read and told these stories as a child, I always took it in that more literal sense that we're not here as a blessing, we're here as a coin toss. A cosmic coincidence. Excuse me, a cosmic coincidence, as you put it. And so yet, why is it that you're the one building a chapel and I'm the one sitting in it?
I suppose.
I wonder if even relying on structure like this, relying on the tradition of simply clasping my hands and closing my eyes, I wonder if that makes me as devout as the next person. Perhaps we are all the same, perhaps not.
Well, I don't think it's an illogical thing to believe in what you can see, hear, feel. But I suppose that there's always a hope that there is something out there, even if it is simply a force of nature. Then again, I've spent too many nights with unanswered prayers, so I suppose I cannot say.
I feel I frequently hear it stated as things work out in ways you may not expect. Your prayers never truly go unanswered, just Not answered in perhaps the way you would like.
I see. And I suppose what good is it that you're here? Why do you stand here, not in an office or a library? Does this place bring you peace?
Can't say I'm sure. I do know that there's a chapel at home. Much smaller than this, but well, not a favorite per se. It was a place that, in hard times, I found myself primarily when it was emptier. Usually, of course, staffed by people shocked to see a prince sitting in their midst, but yes, a sense of quiet, a sense of peace. I believe that there's power in anything that can dress people well and make them follow any sort of code of honor. Worship is a very, very strong thing to have. Community, when used right, is immensely powerful. Being able to tell someone to jump and have them jump is one thing. Being able to command a room to sing, to join you in spoken word, to sit in idle silence. Well, I may not fully understand. Well, I may not, I suppose, follow to the direction or suggestion that there is some higher power that put us here. I think it's a very good demonstration of what we should be. Our respect. Again, being able to show well-dressed, timely. Being able to sit still for however long may be needed. It's always interested
I
me.
suppose. Indeed. I made this place so grand, and yet, funny enough, the only time I've ever felt connected to the old blood is in the places where it feels it is abandoned. While I agree that community is a good thing, coming together for worship, praise, it ultimately means nothing if we cannot find that same, I suppose, reverence in our fellow man. It is one thing to be good for fear of a higher power, and it is another thing entirely to be good for the sake of it.
Precisely.
Were you writing something?
Indeed. The source of the storm at the moment.
Which would be?
A document, if you have any spare books and quills, actually, I was meaning to request. Need to make a few copies of this. It's a document.
You are in luck. I did just refill the books back at the dorm.
Do you have 3?
I believe I should. Allow me to check if there's no writing.
Of course.
This one does have writing, but... Unfortunately, it would seem I only have 2.
Very well. I suppose I had high expectations coming here. Both on myself and for myself. The gravity wasn't lost on me that we're competing for a crown, a position that is bigger than anything that anyone could fathom.
Indeed we are.
It's with gravity like that that fair play is a base requirement. I believe that in terms of justice, you have to have... What's the term? Reasonable doubt. Because it can be compared to items like that. Other courts, other kingdoms even. With the idea that someone can be put to outright death. I believe it's flawed, is it not? To make a final punishment, you should have to require perfect justice. But there's no way you can ever confirm that you have an exact, I suppose, answer.
I suppose. Though, one can call it justice. One can call it the easy way out. One can call it mercy.
Very true.
It truly depends who you ask.
So then, in a competition for the crown that has been above us our entire lives and generations before, a position that no one could ever seek to strive for, a position with shoes far too big to fill. Is it not a similar case? Should it not be secured in the exact same possible ways? Should we not be taking every safeguard, ensuring every unbiased party, laying out exact rules and regulations and not issuing them halfway through?
I see.
That is
Are you
the
suggesting...
concern, yes.
Are you suggesting we attempt to form alliances?
That's the other storm yet to come, but no, today is different. Today is a matter of, I suppose, claiming what's ours. If Thorn wanted to use this academy, this year of our lives, to form a leader capable of taking on the crown, I believe that he has done a wonderful job, at least in my case.
And is that said in truth or in sarcasm?
In truth.
I see.
A leader needs to be ready to face the forces bigger than themselves. Without fear, without hesitation, without a tremor in the voice. It's a tall order for any man.
I cannot say that I understand where this is going, Your Highness. Your language is quite ominous.
I don't believe our court has been given the fair shot. I think that we've had losses. We have court members working against us. We have court members that, to my understanding, left as soon as they arrived. We're missing court members, my heirs namely. Nowhere along the way were we given a fair shot. In situations, cases against our court, the other side has been favored and picked every single time. So in a competition to take the kingdom's crown, how does it fare to disenfranchise a court? Perhaps that's not the right word, but to ask for the royalty to step away, your ruling prince, your crown duchess, your soul, your high chancellor, to step away for a year. Meanwhile, perhaps the results are already set, already arranged, requested. Perhaps there's some variance, but you know who is going to win and who is going to lose. I don't think it fares well at all.
Then what are you suggesting? As I said, we're playing a game where no one knows the rules except for the headmaster himself.
Precisely. Suppose I intend to set the rules. Or
how do you
at
intend
least
to do
if there's
that?
not rules that I can gain clarity on, add my own.
So, does that mean you've decided to stop playing fair?
Suppose it's a matter of playing on the same field as everybody else has been. I don't think that it is fair by any means to start cheating, to delay your points, to hide your points, to perhaps try and buddy up with the professors to gain yourself more. However, I believe that everything is an opportunity. I'm simply taking the one that was presented to me here.
I see. And yet you're still keeping it close to your chest.
Indeed I am.
And I take it you do not wish to enlighten me? At least not yet.
No, not yet. If you'll join me, we have a meeting with the headmaster to attend.
Do remember your umbrella.
Of course. This will either go extremely well, or it could go extremely poorly.
If I may ask, Your Highness,
Yes,
do you not trust me?
I trust you, yes.
Then why keep what you're planning hidden?
I believe that it has potential ramifications outside of the scope of this academy. I trust you on
Is that
a
so?
friendly level. I trust you on the level as my acting advisor. It does have a limit, a range. Once I can be sure that it isn't going to affect things at home, once I can be sure that we're not in graver danger as a result of this, I'll relay.
I see.
Need to grab another book or two if you'll see if you can gather any knights.
I will see.
I'm not leaving room for this to go wrong. I refuse. Refuse to even consider the fact that this could be something that goes wrong. I know that there is plenty of ways that it could. Certainly. I have no doubt about that. Yet, something has to be done. I either take my shot or I miss it. Any luck?
No. I have seen Lady Rosalind around, however. Unfortunately, all of our knights seem to be elsewhere.
Very well. Perhaps then...
May I at least be informed if this meeting with the headmaster is in relation to the storm that you are mentioning?
Indeed it is.
I see.
You'll be an attending witness. I wish for conversation to be kept between myself and the headmaster, but you are there as a... Yes, attending witness. I'd like you to, at the end, you will sign one of these. A pure copy.
I see.
You'll be there to verify that, again, there is no foul play, there's no...
An alibi.
Yes. Someone else to back that this happened.
I see.
Good. Do you know any other knights?
In our court or outside?
Outside.
Hmm.
Finn
I
is
believe
preoccupied.
Finn.
Leonidas hasn't replied yet. Any others?
I am trying to recall if Lady Luciala is one.
I believe Luciala might also be busy. Truly unfortunate.
So it would seem.
Do you meditate?
Do I meditate? I have no need to.
Truly?
I mean, I don't put my fingers together and chant Om into the wind.
You do know there's more to meditating than just interlacing fingers and chanting Om to the wind.
Perhaps.
More of whatever you
I've
make
never
of it.
tried another way. Unless you
see.
would count sleep.
Sure.
If sleep counts as meditation, then I suppose.
In a sense. Here. I'm going to... So Leonidas and Finn are working together at the moment on a current job. I'm going to direct them to miss a view as, again, you'll be a sitting, listening, witnessing party. Should they miss a view, direct them to stand guard outside of the tower.
I see. I will do so.
See. That's an important change. How are you feeling?
I am unsure what to feel.
Good answer. If it brings you any relief, at least on my end, I don't see this going poorly. Or at least in any way that we should need them. It's
Is
at
there
the
any
discretion.
anxiety about retaliation?
Certainly. That's why you put a clause for it. Here we go, Ezra. That's not. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hope I'm not ending your meeting early.
Oh
No,
no.
he forced me out. He hates me.
Okay.
Oh,
Don't speak about
Unfortunate.
your father like that.
What?
Sorry.
Yeah.
You've sired a child.
No,
yes, your eye.
adoption. He's adopted.
Oh,
Oh.
No, I
you
mean the
didn't
missing one.
the
He
tele-
has your eye.
Oh. Give it back.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, I can see again. You knew it was that easy.
Either way.
oh joy, wondrous day.
Shall we?
You sound so happy. Yes, we shall.
Celica's joining just to sit in on it.
Ignore the missing elevator. If it does reappear, it just does that sometimes.
Fair enough.
It's magical.
Magic is a way to describe it. Let me create a space.
Here I go, making my
So-
own.
Apologies.
I wanted to check back in on court standing.
Mhm.
I know our last meeting had some matters that needed perhaps further investigation. And we had some thoughts on Violet Vendetta, sparing the full name,
Yes.
of course.
It's a very long name.
Mouthful as well.
What specifically are you wanting to talk about?
I suppose if anything has changed on that situation.
Not currently. There has been a few more critical things I've had to be paying attention to recently, so I've not had time to go through my documents and find the exact requirements. However, I have sent a letter to your father, just reaching out and asking about the Viscount situation back at home and seeing if it would be possible to get in touch with their tutors.
Of course. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
I did some light investigation of my own following our meeting.
Mhm.
I know I had my holds on the situation regarding Vicky.
Yes.
Something I suppose didn't strike me right with how sudden it appeared.
Yes, I will say I have tried to reach out to her and have gotten no response, though
You sent her
admittedly
home,
that is not a
correct?
surprise. Yes, I have sent letters back to her house, and I have yet to hear anything back. Though again, not a surprise considering she or her family did not respond to the invitation to the school.
I see. I had my curiosities on, overall, I suppose, her attendance, or, again, response. The first thing we checked in a matter for, I suppose, her safety, mailbox. We found the following inside of it. We found the Nether rules, her permit to the Nether to transport to Kingdom Building, an invite to the Lunar New Year, an invite to the Valentine's Day event hosted by the Fellfolk, and a horse overview book.
Mhm.
To my understanding, she arrived the 5th of January. The horse book would have come out sometime in January, Valentine's someday, or somewhere early February, Lunar New Year's early February. The Nether Kingdom Building permission was January, and the Nether rules were back in December. And I believe, yes, you said that she was suspended the 9th of March.
Yes. Oh, you have to remember the day.
It's all fine. My concern is I cannot find anyone, vampires, sea monsters, fellfolk, demon. I cannot find anyone that has ever seen or knows of Vicky.
Mhm.
There were a few that were there on her first day that knew her there, but past that, no one seems to know much of her. I believe her invites are perhaps just from a student list.
I see.
And given she didn't touch her mail ever, never appeared at any events, classes, anything, matter of fact, and I cannot find any singular witness to her showing up, I don't believe that she stayed in attendance.
Mhm.
I believe that she arrived the 5th of January and perhaps left before even her first mailing came through. We also did a sweep of her room. Entirely empty, untouched. It is as it was in November before she arrived. I understand that she was suspended. I understand that she was not around often, but I would be more than surprised if she left it without a single trace of life. I don't even know if she ever reached it there. I don't know if she ever even got to her room.
I know she was inside her dormitory on the first day. I cannot say for certain if she was inside it any other time. I do not go into the student dormitories.
I appreciate
well,
the
the dorm
respect
rooms.
to privacy.
Mhm.
But that brings me the curiosity as to how or where or why she would have garnered any of this supposed hatred, this alleged despisal of me. Or where she would have learned of the raccoon incident that struck our dorms, where she would have gained a distaste for Singerloon. Or how you would have run into her on the 9th of March.
I was around very early in the day, which is quite typical for me, as I tend to get most of my work done when the students are either sleeping or out and about.
Quite typical for me.
I had run into her twice. The first time she was speaking to me about some issues that she heard, namely uh, the raccoon incident. She said she had spoken with someone and heard about it and was wondering if that was like a typical occurrence in the school. I suppose more of a concern for safety. I informed her that it was not, and it was a one-time situation, and it had since been dealt with by yourself and Cassian.
And yourself,
then
as
the
I
next
believe
day.
you overruled part of the decision.
Yes. And then she said that she spoke with someone, I have reasons to believe that it was Violet, about people having issues with the prince. Hence why I've reason to believe it was Violet. I have not seen Violet to speak with her about this. I've been trying to get any form of conversation with her, but it seems she is away when I am here and or I'm busy when she is here. So I cannot like 100% say it was Violet, but obviously we both know the issues that she has had with the court. I cannot find anyone else who would, I suppose, slander your name in any way.
Of course.
Mhm.
Well, I believe in justice, you need logic, reasoning. What is lined up for me is that Violet, I would say with certainty, was behind the forgery of the Helios book.
Mhm. That's another thing that I've been trying to speak with her about.
And I would state that the reasonings that she would have for sharing a book as, well, mean-spirited, pointless as that, is hatred for myself, the court, and Everthorn as a whole. This is the traits that you put on Vicky, however, when you described her to me and described your conversation with her. You said that
I will
Vicky
say,
spoke about hating the court, hating me, hating the school, hating Singerloon.
Yes, that was the conversation we had after she had said to me that she had done it. Though
I don't think you're being
will
truthful
add,
with me.
you are more than fine to believe that, though I will add you had mentioned that you do not believe that Violet likes yourself. That I do believe is true. Does not like the court or
Certainly.
Everthorn, I do not believe is true.
It just is a bit confusing to me then that Vicky, a student that no one can vouch seeing, despite she has supposedly had conversations with multiple people, is being suspended without any meeting, any conversation. No one even sees her go. For reasons and traits that perfectly describe Violet, who has also committed a similar act of rebellion against our court, trying to frame us to look bad. It may be more circumstantial, but I believe that more points to Violet having done this.
Mhm. And while I can understand why that is a conclusion that you would come to, that is not what the evidence said. That is not what Vicky had said to me. Maybe it was someone using a polyjuice potion. I do not know.
So who's covering
But
for
what I
Violet?
do
Is it
know-
Vicky or is it you? I would like to establish that for the record before we go forward.
I am not covering for Violet. Matter of fact, Violet has been a major pain, thorn on my side, more than she has been for you. I have spoken with Violet on multiple occasions. There is absolutely no scenario where I would sit here and try to blame another student for the actions of another. Truthfully, the fact that you are saying that I would is rather offensive. And need I remind you that I am giving so many special passes to Court Bloodwin. Do you truly think that I would let someone in the school, if they are trying to sabotage? Violet is upset. That is her own thing. I am dealing with it. If she does not get her act together, she will be dealt with. She will be suspended. She will be expelled. But to insinuate that I would blame another student for something that I know another student did is insulting. I've been lenient with you. I've let you not attend classes. I've let the vampires get away so many times not attending classes. I have given you points for things that, quite truthfully, you did not deserve points for. I gave Rosalind 20 points for making a pact. Because I want your court to do good. I want this court to win. I'm doing everything in my power to help, because you're at a disadvantage of people not attending classes. And you are sitting here and insulting me, insulting my character. How do you anticipate that will go for you?
So why is it that in every other incident that's come up, incidents that are far worse than graffiti, putting crude drawings of raccoons across a dorm, why is it that incidents like that are not punished? They are left up to the discrepancy of those bothered. But graffiti is the incident where you have to immediately send a student home.
It was not the graffiti, it was the bullying. It was specifically made to target you. Whatever it was, whoever it was, I do not care. It was made specifically against another student. To cause
care
harm to
because
another student.
I am truly not convinced. I don't think anyone would be convinced with the evidence at hand that this is Vicky. You are slandering her name, an innocent name in my eyes,
Then let it
and
be
the only
innocent
reason that I can
in your
come up
eyes,
with that-
Ra.
I simply would like the truth with Violet. You say she has been a bigger pain for you. Why might that be?
Correct. Because I'm the one who is constantly having to deal with her because she does not want to go to you for whatever reason.
So when she is, as you put it, bullying, when she is going against me, slandering my name, making my court look foolish, you confessed that she said she is actively trying to lose us points. Why is she not being instantly sent home? Why is it only then that it is, once I push, something that you have to give a note for?
Because it was not as what Violet is doing is not as severe as breaking into another dormitory, putting quite literally not even almost, 235 paintings of raccoons.
For someone that hasn't been around, unless... Okay. She doesn't have any activity at Kingdom Building. Her dorm room is completely clean. The same as it was in November. The same as it was when she arrived. She hasn't been cooped up in her room. She hasn't been cooped up at Kingdom Building. I don't believe she has been here, Headmaster.
I have seen her with my own eyes. I do
Eyes
not
is
know
insane.
what she does in her free time. Maybe she doesn't collect stuff in her dormitories. I don't know what's in the students' dormitories. You could come to me and say Celica has absolutely nothing in her dormitories to say that she's been there. And I would have no reason but to believe you. Because I do not go into their dormitories to see if they're actively doing things. I
I'm not
frequent
trying to
the Kingdom
confirm
Building
whether or not
areas.
you have checked her dormitory. I'm saying it's empty. I'm saying she hasn't been here.
And you could be lying. The matter of fact is, you do not know who Vicky is. I do. I have spoken with her in person on multiple occasions now. I have spoken with her family. I have briefly known her family for some time. I had been in contact with them prior to inviting her to the academy, hence why she was invited to the academy. Unfortunately, there was no response with that, but I have spoken with them. While you may want to believe that there is good in everyone in your court, there are people in your court who have done terrible things that I am letting slide because it is not affecting another court. This is the first time I have penalized Court Bloodwin. And it is something that has been dealt with. Vicky, maybe being Violet, whatever, isn't going to change anything because she would still only be suspended for 2 weeks if it was Violet.
But you're still putting, again, slander on
Do you know who
an
she
innocent
is?
name. Vicky?
Yes, do you
Yes,
know
I was there
anything
the day
about
she
her?
arrived.
Okay, but did you know anything about her before?
Vaguely. I don't think that matters.
Exactly. It does matter because you are trying to insinuate that I am blaming someone innocent when said person told me to my face that it was her.
Do you have any documentation on this?
No, unfortunately, I do not record any conversation I have with students. I do not take photos when I am telling students off for
300
breaking into a
years-
dormitory,
in
placing
300
235
years, you don't
paintings
learn to
and
take
trying to
notes
frame
on
their air.
meetings.
While also actually trying to frame one of my friends. I have spoken with Saif. Saif has outwardly said to me that he would not do that, he would never do that, and he has no issues with Court Cinderlin. There has been so many issues with your court. I do not know why the one time that I am punishing the court for something, that, and not even taking points, by the way. Violet isn't losing the court any points. I've spoken to all the professors. She isn't going to be getting what she wants. I've spoken with Violet. She has calmed down. And if she acts out again, it will be immediate expulsion. Sorry. You are welcome to believe what you want. I cannot force you to believe that Vicky came to me. We spoke briefly about you. She wasn't happy with what she was hearing. The next day, I'd come. Riley had spoken to me about seeing the things in the, seeing the raccoons in the dormitory. I asked her to take photos for me. She had took the photos. I went then to speak with Vicky. Me and Vicky talked about it. We decided that she would be suspended, but there would be nothing taken from the court.
So,
I cannot force you to believe anything, but I'm telling you what happened. It is up to you, whatever you believe.
You can't convince me. And with the evidence that is outlaid, there's no documentation on any of your conversations with Vicky. No meeting logs, nothing.
I have no meeting logs of the conversation that I had with you about Cinder. I have no meeting logs of the conversation I had with Cassian about Cinder.
It's perhaps a problem I would look into. But that means if this is to leave the bounds of Everthorn, if this goes home to Bloodwyn, if this becomes a domestic issue, that you requested multiple members of our court, the prince himself to step away from the kingdom for a year, immediately had him disqualified, knowing you didn't send heirs with him. How does that look? When we're in a competition for the crown, to rule over the entire kingdom, and from the very first day, before we even arrived, you knew that our court was disqualified.
Did not know your court was disqualified. I assumed that you would be picking people prior.
And none of
I
us
admit that
relayed.
was... No,
How
it
does
was
that
something that
look
I thought would...
at home, when you are taking out a key integral part of the hierarchy.
How does it look at home that someone in your court attacked another student and almost killed her?
That's a matter we handle at home if it needs to be. Otherwise, we are under
How do
your
you think that
protection and
looks
your
to other
care.
courts?
I don't think well. I think that it is your job to handle punitively.
Is that my job?
We are under your protection and care. If someone's getting attacked, then that is
Ezra,
yours
how
to
old
handle,
are
is
you?
it not? 22.
You're 22 years old. I am not here to babysit the students. I cannot sit there every day and watch over every student every single moment of the day and make sure that they are following the school rules. I know for a matter of fact that multiple people in your court have broken the rules, and I have done nothing about it because it
I'm
isn't
not
that severe
asking
of
you
a
to do
break.
that. I'm asking you
No,
to
I
handle
know
things
you are
fairly.
not, but you are insinuating. You are not even insinuating, you are threatening me with going back to your court and saying things. You don't think your father knows? You don't think your father was aware that you were being sent here with no heirs? He knew the requirements.
I believe
That was
during our
all
previous
included in the letter.
conversation, you said that you did not include requirements.
He knew that there had to be heirs. I didn't specify.
You specified, give me a list of people, to which you clarified that you combed through this list of people,
Yes, I looked
did
back at
background
my
checks,
letters that I
and
had
then
sent, and I had
selected a
found that I
certain
had
few.
mentioned heirs. Because I
May I see these
realized
letters?
that if... No. Why? Okay. I
want
realized
proof.
that
I
if I
want
had given you a
definitive-
disadvantage, that was on me. And I was going to at least try to make up to it in point value. I was going to be willing to bring Court Bloodwyn up to the same par that all of the other courts were in. I'd look back in my letter
Good,
that
we're
I'd
in
sent out
agreement.
to all of the Thorn Concord leaders. I'd said that I was opening the school. I said what the school was for. I said that it would consist of the courts needing the head heir, any heirs they wish to send, and a list of students that they would recommend, or a list of people that they would recommend. It is on me, yes, for not combing through it a bit more and checking to make sure that your heirs were brought along. And for that, I will be giving a point value that I think makes up for that, to at least bring you some way up to par with the other courts. As yes, it is my fault that you are at this disadvantage, and I'm very sorry for that. But I do not like the insinuation that you need proof of these things. I understand that, yes, it can be hard to trust what I say after I have wronged you. But it is a matter of privacy. I cannot go around showing my private letters to students.
I'm not asking for open access. I'm simply asking for evidence.
And I can show you that evidence
When
at a
it's
later
coming
date when
to
I'm able to look through.
Punitive measures, we have to have definitive proof. I don't have definitive proof that Cinder stepped in my dorm, and so we're not able to properly punish him for breaking and entering into our dorm because there's no evidence that he was the one that tied the raccoons. That was what you
No,
put
there's
forward.
evidence that he tied the raccoons, but there's no evidence. Now, this was according to Castiel. This is not my ruling. I can't say I fully agree with it. I agreed with you on the day that I do think it looked like he went into the dorms. This was Castiel. Castiel said there is no way to prove that he went into the dorms, and Cinder was adamant that he didn't. Points were taken. Yourself and Cassian came to an agreement. That is out of my hands. As much as I would have loved to give a punishment for trespassing, I cannot. Though I do have questions about some things that Cinder does. I cannot punish a student for being strange.
Certainly not.
I can look more into the Vicky situation. I can see if I can find that it was polyjuice. Because as it has recently come to light, students have far too easy access to that. I will be speaking with Violet. If she admits anything to me, she will be immediately expelled. If she does not admit to, I suppose, the raccoon incident, but I have full reason to believe that she forged the SIVE document, she will be suspended for 2 weeks.
To clarify briefly, the prior meeting you said that the next incident with Violet would result in expulsion. I asked for it in writing as to have something to fall back on.
Mhm.
You wrote suspension. Earlier you mentioned expulsion again, and you're
Did
now
I say
bringing it
suspension?
to 2 week suspension again.
That would be because it was a prior incident, not a new one. However, I can rewrite that book. I thought I wrote expulsion. I do not have a...
From what I'm gathering, we're both in agreement on a point adjustment and Violet's expulsion, no?
Not expulsion if she admits to the forgery, however, 2 week suspension. I do not have a free book and quill on me. You would not happen to have one, do you?
I do not.
Celica, do you have one?
Have what?
Book and quill, an empty one.
I do not have an empty one. I gave all of my empty ones to you.
I see. Well, I will adjust that book. For any instances going forward from our last conversation, she will be expelled. I'll be speaking to her about that. I know the one thing that she does not wish to happen is to be expelled. So ideally, that will cause her to calm down. If not, again, expulsion.
Unfortunately, with how things are shaping, I have a different solution in mind.
Go ahead.
To put this matter to rest, especially with this conversation, it seems we have two very differing ideas on the matter of Vicky, the matter of Violet, court behavior, and how things may result at home. Writing to my father, he didn't mention any communication with you or Everthorn. From my understanding, besides, well, I can't say for certain.
The letter may not have arrived then.
I see.
I only had time to send it about 2 days ago.
I do know that the different origins have their own alliances here at Everthorn. I believe that relations scale back at home. And
Admittedly,
no,
I'm
to
not sure.
correct what you had said earlier, I don't wish to threaten you. I think that would be foolish, even for me. Nonetheless, I am a man of logic and realism. I don't know what my father would call for. I don't know how the other courts would take it. But if I am to personally withdraw, if the competition is not shaping up to be the fair competition that it would need to be, I believe that it's only fair we consider possibilities. That said, I've drafted a contract. I will admit, it's aimed in the sense of my belief, where to every piece of evidence that I'm seeing, it appears that you're covering for Violet, framing Vicky, sabotaging our court, disadvantaging our court, sending us without heirs. Everything stacks, unfortunately, against you. Whether that is true or not, I don't believe that coincidence scales to this degree. The contract outlines a few demands, requirements. The first being Violet's immediate expulsion. A choice, I suppose, in keeping the competition fair while also catching us back up on lost points. Of either 400 points, lump sum direct to us, or a permanent 1.25 modifier, multiplier. Third, a formal apology to Vicky and her family. And fourth, 3 guaranteed positions.
Give me the contract.
Sure.
I'm going to say straight off the bat, I'm not going to sign it how is.
To read through for all of us. This contract signed today, the 27th of March 2026, sets to resolve the conflict between the local populace of Court Bloodwyn and the administration of Everthorn Academy. Prince Fiorvente, hereafter PF, believes that the Academy's headmaster, Phelan Thorn, hereafter FT, has been actively covering for and attempting to sabotage Bloodwyn's efforts towards the Academy's goal of competition for the crown. This includes court favoritism, double standards, framing, defamation, extortion, and attempted regicide. That being on myself. The requirements of resolution to follow are non-negotiable, immediately binding, and irreversible once signed. 1. Permanent removal. As the student responsible for many recent incidents putting the court in a negative light, and the student currently being covered by Phelan Thorn, Violet Vendetta is to be permanently removed from Everthorn Academy's enrollment. Under this removal, she is not to be within 5,000 meters of the school grounds. This removal is with the condition that Prince Fiorvente will not pursue any punishment in Bloodwyn's home territory for incidents that may have arisen as a result of Academy conditions or any possible influence from Phelan Thorn. This permanent expulsion is to be issued and executed by the morning of March 29th, 2026. Violet Vendetta is not to be warned or told in any fashion before her removal in order to prevent any further damage being done to Court Bloodwyn's reputation. Any attempt to keep Violet Vendetta anywhere near Everthorn or prolong her removal will be considered retaliatory. 2. Restitution. As any charge pointed at Vicky Strudel is without evidence and probable process, it is imperative to undo and rectify the damage done upon her name. Phelan Thorn is to write a letter of apology to Vicky Strudel and her family no later than April 3rd of 2026. A copy of this letter is to be delivered to Prince Fiorvente, who will then verify the receipt of the letter to all verified parties, or intended parties. Any attempt to avoid clearing Vicky's name and making amends will be considered retaliatory. 3. Point adjustment. To correct the bias afflicting Court Bloodwyn from November 8th, 2025 to March 26th of 2026, the following 2 options are presented on the next page. 400 points added to Bloodwyn's total, or a permanent 1.25 X point multiplier for Bloodwyn. Phelan Thorn is to mark an X on the preferred option. Both are presented in good faith with the hope that it sets Court Bloodwyn to a fair total in light of internal and external sabotage against them. If the 400-point option is selected, they must be credited to Court Bloodwyn in full by April 17th, 2026. These points are to be isolated and unrelated from standard point gains. If the multiplier option is selected, it shall apply retroactively to current Bloodwind totals and universally to all future Bloodwind point gains for the duration of the crown competition. Prince Fiorvente retains the right to apply this multiplier to any similar competition should foul play arrive. Any attempt to invalidate this requirement will be considered retaliatory. 4. Guaranteed position. In the event that Bloodwind does not win the competition, 3 positions must be guaranteed for Prince Fiorvente's first selection, superseding the winner's choice. Prince Fiorvente wishes to guarantee that Phelan Thorn's potential malicious choices do not endanger anyone sent to the Academy with higher expectations than were ever realistic under the rule of competition. It is Prince Fiorvente's duty in this case to make educated and well-intentioned choices for each position. It is Phelan Thorn's duty to set his wrongs against Court Bloodwind right. Any attempt to falsify or overrule these positions will be considered retaliatory. 5. Retaliatory action. Should Prince Fiorvente deem any of Phelan Thorn's action following the signing of this document as retaliatory, defined here as an action to manipulate, escape, or invalidate any words in this document, or interpret them in bad faith, 200 points shall be granted to Court Bloodwind within 7 days of Prince Fiorvente's notification to Phelan Thorn. In addition, to dissuade foul play, Phelan Thorn is required from this date forward to inform Prince Fiorvente of any meetings attended or actions proposed with or against any member of Court Bloodwind. By signing this document, both parties agree that they are of sound mind and discretion, signing of their own will and desire. Attending witness, Celica, shall sign their copy after approval from Phelan Thorn, Prince Fiorvente, and themselves. Both parties will agree on the terms provided in the attending witness copy and understand that any edits made to their personal copy are invalid and unrecognized. Upon attending witness signature, Prince Fiorvente and Phelan Thorn may exchange and sign their own separate copies.
Okay. To drop all formalities, because, truthfully, I do not know what has prompted you to make this document. I understand that you feel wronged, but I'm going to tell you straightforward that I would be idiotic to sign this. To start off, I'm just to have everything straight. Court favoritism. Never once have I shown favoritism to any other court than Court Bloodwind. I have given your court points for things that I shouldn't have been given points to, because I felt bad. Your court is losing because, 1, you do not attend classes. 2, all of the wrongdoings that your court have been doing have not been giving people a need to do anything. I have spoken multiple times. I've spoken with Veswin about this particularly. Myself and Veswin had come to multiple agreements, and I had given points for that. I have told off the other professors for not treating Court Bloodwind fairly. I have yelled at my fellow professors because of how they've been treating your court, because I did not think it was fair. I believed there was bias against your court, and I corrected it. Since then, your court has been gaining more points for attending classes, and I'm glad for that. Next, double standards. Sure, I can see how that may come across. I do not blame you for thinking that. Framing, absolutely not. We had already had this conversation. Defamation, absolutely not. We've already had this conversation. Extortion, I don't even know where that comes from. And attempted regicide. I'm going to assume you know what regicide is, because you said it was against yourself. Regicide is attempted murder. You were saying that someone tried to kill you.
Indeed.
Nobody tried to kill you, Ezra. A threat on your life was never placed. You were never physically in danger. Maybe socially.
You know this where?
What act has been on your life? Pray tell. The raccoons?
2 days ago, I wake up in a cave surrounded in my own blood. My manor has been broken into. The window shattered. Furniture across the place. What would you call that besides someone has attempted on my life?
Your Highness?
At my very own kingdom building. At my very own
You have
kingdom
reason to
building.
believe that was the school.
Correct.
Someone at the school. And you did not bring it to my attention.
This is me bringing it to your attention, yes.
Yes, you should have brought it to my attention the day of, Ezra.
I've been having trouble finding you.
I have been around.
Unfortunately, I believe whenever I've missived, it's fallen upon deaf ears.
I have not gotten any missives from you.
My deepest apologies.
Then who do you believe done it?
Well, given it was at our kingdom building, which, besides the Rose Festival and people coming to set up their own booths, I would believe that only our own court would be frequently there, and there enough to know where my house is. Now, out of everybody in my court, who is the one person that hates the prince, hates the court, would act out against me?
Yes, because Violet going from putting dirt on her clothes, rolling in mud, which is admittedly very weird, would then go straight to murder.
I believe I was in a weakened state. I don't have memory of this.
How are you to say it was not yourself?
I would be shocked.
Because you are welcome to be shocked, but it seems to be a trend with vampires blacking out recently. I will look into it. I will do a full proper investigation, and if I can find that Violet or any other student took part in that, they will be immediately expelled. That is not something I tolerate. And should I remind you that perhaps you should inform your advisor of these things as well? I suppose who is going to be your advisor? The next permanent removal, I'm not going to remove a student just to please you. If I have evidence that Violet has done wrong, absolutely I will expel her. However, the stuff she has done recently is not enough to warrant expulsion. As well as the punishment for bullying is not expulsion, it is suspension. Even still, she would not be warned before. Or she would be warned before, because that is just not something I do at this school. This thing with Vicky, that is interesting to say the least. I have reached out to her, I've reached out to her family trying to get any response. If they respond and they have admin proof that it was not Vicky, then yes, I will apologize. Point adjustment, I think, quite frankly, you are hilarious to suggest 400 points and a permanent multiplier, because that will absolutely not be happening. If you are trying to make me sign this because of court favoritism, you do realize that me signing this and giving you 400 points, which would put you at around 800, 900 points, I still have to tally up the most recent points made from advancements and also points I had given to the vampires in my class, you would be near at least 1,000 points. That is not something that is happening. I do not know who you think you are, but this is not Court Bloodwin. I do not care how Court Bloodwin views me, quite frankly. I do not care how any court views me. I'm running this competition as fairly as I can, and need I remind you that this is my family's legacy. This is my family's crown. My sister died, which I had only very recently found out. That I've only very recently got full evidence that she died. And I'm trying to come to terms with that, and instead I'm having to explain to a 22-year-old that everything doesn't go his way. I am sorry you are upset, and I will absolutely give Court Bloodwin 150 points to get you in par with the other courts. I'm more than happy to do that, and I'm happy to give a point multiplier for a month. But I'm not going to spoon feed this competition to you. That is what I've been doing already. I've given your court far more points than I would, quite frankly, like to admit. I've been very biased towards Court Bloodwin, which is a lackluster on my part. It is not something I should be doing, but I felt bad. I've been trying to accommodate at the start for no heirs. Or well, I knew you had heirs, but I wasn't sure how fond of them you were, so as well as the fact that they weren't attending classes, I was trying to give extra points where I could. And even still...
In what period, may I ask briefly?
Around December time.
In our prior meeting, you mentioned that you weren't aware of the heir situation until heirs were...
Yes,
or until majors were picked,
if you had
which would have been January,
listened...
no?
Yes, if you had listened to what I said, I wasn't aware that your heirs were not there, but I wasn't sure how you felt about the heirs that you had picked. I have given at least 80 points to your court in the past month. I have been given points for things that I shouldn't have been given points for events that I normally wouldn't give points for if had any other court done it. I've been trying to get your court on par because you are at a disadvantage in general, even without the heirs. Because 2 people didn't let me know. Well, Sabrina let me know, but Vicky didn't. I knew Sabrina was arriving late. I was hoping that when she would come, she would help get more points up, and she has. And since I'd found out about Violet trying to sabotage the court, I've been trying to give more points. I understand you were upset. But you've written a contract that is the embodiment of a hissy fit. And it is definitely one of the most interesting contracts I have read. And again, it will not be being signed. But again, I'm happy to give 150 points to Core Bloodwin today, as well as the permanent multiplier for the month of April. Guaranteed positions, that is unfortunately not something I can call. I cannot sign a contract and say that that is that. That is something you'd have to speak about with the person who wins. Once they win, that is my call over everything regarding the crown out of my hands. I cannot sign a contract saying that it will happen when it may not. I'm sure you are welcome to speak with the demons or the sea monsters, as it seems fairly likely that they are going to win, but I cannot say for certain. Retaliatory action. I do not intend to do anything retaliatory. I'm still going to be acting the same way I do in the court. Even though I haven't given Core Bloodwin special treatment, if you wish for there to be no court favoritism, I'm more than happy to go back that way. And yes, I'm not signing that. Simple as, I will give your court 150 points. I will give you the multiplier for the entire month of April. I will re-put in writing that the next issue I have with Violet, she'll be permanently expelled. Which, in turn, does mean that she will not be able to go near anything regarding the school. You needn't write that in any document. That is just a matter of fact. Once someone is expelled from the school, they're not allowed to come anywhere within it. I understand you are upset. And I'm sorry that we cannot come to a strict agreement on this, or I suppose a mutual agreement on this. But if your issue is court favoritism, which seems to be the main thing, me agreeing to these terms is court favoritism. And in turn, the other courts will have issues with that. Then another court will have issues with that, and then another court will have issues with that, and then everyone's up 400 points. If 150 is not enough for you, I am happy to go half on the 400 and give 200. But that is the most that you are going to get from this meeting.
I'd like you to revise the contract, if you must write a new one.
I will change it to fit the terms, if that is something that you are willing to agree with.
I'd like to meet again in some days' time and discuss again.
Ezra, I am not going to continue having this conversation with you. I am telling you, this is the best that you are going to get from me. This isn't something that we can revise. This isn't something that's going to go over and over again. This will be the last conversation that I'm willing to have with you regarding this topic. Because you are not happy. There's no way that any of this is going to make you happy. Bear in mind, we'll say 200. Those 200 points will be added on already. Or not added on, not included in the benefit. Or the other point advantage that I was going to be giving you. This is the best that you are going to get from me. I will not be changing my mind on this. This is the last conversation we will be having, and if you are not happy, you are welcome to withdraw from the competition. However, you must know that that means that your entire court will have to go home. They will not be allowed near school grounds. It is the same requirement that I've given for the sea monsters when they were talking to me about switching heirs.
Of course.
I understand you're upset, and I'm sorry that I cannot do more to make you happy, but this is the most I'm going to bend on this. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that we can have another conversation and revise things, and maybe then we'll come to an agreement. But this is how it's going to be. I have far too much on my plate to be dealing with at the moment. There's a professor in the med bay. There's far more pressing things going on in this school than some fake accusation of slander that you are throwing on my name. And while I am upset about that accusation, I understand why it is something you may think. And again, I will do another investigation into this. And if in turn it turns out not to be Vicky, I will do a full investigation once again. But at the end of the day, you do not call the shots in the school. I've given you so much leniency because I want to see your court do well. While it may not seem like that to you, I'm trying. I'm trying my best with what your court is giving me. And it is not a lot. I was very happy when I saw that you were in second place, because I knew that means that your court going first. I think you would be a phenomenal ruler, and I think you definitely have the potential to do the best for your court. And while I'm not happy about the contract, this in turn does show that you are willing to do what is best for the people. And I appreciate that. But my opinion on this is not going to change. There's no point in us running circles around each other. My terms are 200 plus the points I'm willing to give you to put you closer or on par with the students or the other courts. And the multiplier for April, as well as rewriting the document, obviously saying that I would expel Violet. Need to step out of line. Is that something you will agree to?
I will say I'm favorable, but I can't say I'm a fan of hasty judgment or hasty conclusion.
I have been thinking on this. Obviously not this specific contract, but thinking about how to improve our relation, as I would like to have a decent relationship with you. I do think you would be a phenomenal leader, but
As would I.
this is the best that it is going to get. I physically cannot do anything more. You have to understand my position here as well. While you are upset, I'm trying to keep this as fair as I can, and I'm very sorry that it does not seem fair to you. I'm sure some other courts have that opinion, seeing as I've actually heard that more students believe I have favoritism towards Court Bloodwind than any other court. But this is the most I can do. I cannot show explicit favoritism.
Nevertheless, with new terms, I still would want them in a new contract, so I believe at least one more meeting is in necessity.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy to write that out, and we can discuss on if you are available Monday. I would not like to take you away from the Rose Festival.
Of course. Hopefully that one will go much briefer. If by that time you're also able to prepare any documentation. I don't wish to believe that you are favoring anybody, any group of people. I don't wish to believe that you are lying to me. I'm just again, men of logic, and everything so far has stacked up to lead me to the beliefs that I have.
I understand that without seeing, I suppose, the evidence of the conversation between myself and Vicky, it is hard to believe. But again, if I have reason to believe that it was a polyjuice potion, I will look into it, and if it ends up being Violet or Cinder for whatever reason, as he does have a... I cannot think of the word, but he does seem to favor raccoons for whatever reason. I do not know. What I do know is someone came to me, told me about their opinions, and then the next day there was an issue with Court Cinderloon. And I spoke with them, and they said it was them. Assuming I would be on their side because I'm the representative. I truly do not think she got the memo that I'm not a vampire. But I will do another thorough investigation. Whatever I find, I will show to you.
Very well. Monday it is then.
Mhm.
Again, in the meantime, I would again state that I do not wish to be at odds.
Mm.
I believe that there is a great potential between the two of us,
I believe so as well.
and thus I would implore that anything you can consider from my list of requirements would be much appreciated.
On a completely unrelated note, as I have just remembered, I have these. Does anyone in your court do magic? I believe Rosalind does.
Correct.
Do you know what type of magic?
Not in specific.
Well, I have a spare of this if you would like to give to her. It's supposed to boost magical abilities.
I'll pass it over on your behalf.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Otherwise, I trust your discretion as you can trust mine.
Of course.
And of course, Salicus. Take care.
You as well. Oh.
Good evening.
Oh, so that's
For both of you. Thank
was
you
it
very
that
much.
important?
To me, yes. I believe Celica's is still in there, but... Thank you both. She should be fine.
I hope your conversation went well.
It did. Thank you.
Why us though?
The knights I had on hand. Celica. Thank you both. Have a great night. Make us a space.
Your Highness, you have 10 seconds to start explaining before I tell you to clench your jaw.
Believe it or not, the meeting actually went stellar.
What?
Indeed.
First of all, there was an attempt on your life, and you didn't think that prudent to tell me.
Perhaps. There is different theories on the matter, is all.
What are you saying?
Do you believe that Vicky earned her suspension? Do you think that these conversations happened? Or did the evidence indeed point more towards Violet?
I do not know.
So, with Violet taking an act, which is to, of course, forge these books and spread them around out of sheer hatred for myself and our court, followed up shortly, or preceded shortly, by this graffiti in the dorms that seemingly is against me and my court. But that one is supposedly coming from someone that you directly, after the meeting, saw without tampering, an untouched mailbox, an untouched dorm room. Who do you
I-
believe more likely to have been behind the graffiti that immediately got Vicky expelled? Or suspended, apologies. Violet or Vicky? After you.
I suppose Violet.
The headmaster is not truthful. The headmaster is not straightforward. As you put it earlier, the whole thing is a game. And that
Yes, Your
requires
Highness.
playing back.
And as I said, it is a game that we do not know how to win. Do you seriously believe that he will actually agree to those terms? Or even the minor terms? He could say that he never agreed to it in a few days. And that would put us right back where we started.
Please take a seat, if you would like.
Fine. But I'm not standing for any of this.
The headmaster lies even under pressure. Some of that was met in return. If the headmaster is playing that game and defining the rules, then it only tracks to play the exact same game, fit within those exact same rules. I'm not entirely convinced it was an attempt on my life. The same way that I believe
But did
the
it
headmaster...
indeed happen, Your Highness?
Indeed.
Apologies, I need to pace. First, the very notion that you decided not to tell me when it happened shows a severe lack of trust in me.
I was well taken
Apologies.
care of by a trusted friend. I was safe, and that was what matters, and what I would believe mattered to you.
And am I not a trusted friend, Your Highness?
You unfortunately didn't come upon me first. I'm sure had I woken up and been able to call out for someone, you would have been among the first. My point, Celica. The headmaster plays these games. We have to play them exactly back. Of course, the headmaster is not going to agree to 400 points, nearly doubling our count. Of course, a permanent multiplier, applying retroactively and going forward, is not going to fly. Admission of guilt, especially when, obviously, he's not going to confess that he's covering for Violet. Not going to happen. Immediate expulsion when, again, he's choosing his battle. Not going to happen. And guaranteed positions in a court that he does not rule. Not going to happen. But you watched it in real time. 150 points were thrown out. Then to 200. Then to a multiplier. No meeting to a meeting. He said about 600 times that he understands I am upset. I think whether or not he shows it, I believe the comment about things at home has to matter to some degree, no? When you oversee the entirety of this kingdom, all 4 courts, even a quarter going against you, having distaste for how you have treated them or disrespected their court, is considerable. Certain alliances bring that to maybe even half. Perhaps even 75%. You can't rule over 4 courts if 2 or even 3 are going against you. And hell, I reckon that the 4th has their own grievances too at that point. You're not going to be the one left out, are you? We're not alone in a fight should it come to escalating this. It does matter.
So instead of presenting a unified front, like you always advertise, you go behind my back and come up with this farce. And then you just believe that everybody will just go along with it?
No, as I stated, the contract was constructed exactly because people wouldn't go along with it.
And what makes you think he would bargain with you, even? What was the guarantee there? That was a huge risk you put us under.
Again, there is threat at home, there's risk at home. There's threat here, risk here. There's accusations being floated even just within that meeting that, should they see the light of day, it's word of mouth versus word of mouth. One of the word of mouth at least has evidence to back it. In the power dynamic that was there, yes, Valen's word of mouth wins. But in the court of public opinion, one side has evidence, one does not. What is more likely to be believed?
Even with evidence, people will choose to believe what they want to believe. If they are allied with him, they will believe him, even if he has no evidence. You so relentlessly believe that people will just automatically see the good. You don't know what people are really like, Your Highness.
Do I not?
I seriously cannot believe you. Your Highness, to put it bluntly, I am not going to be advisor to a ruler who cannot even come to me for advising. At the very, I would have appreciated us talking it out. But no. You clearly don't trust me. Clearly this whole time it was just a farce, right? Just wanted to keep me in line. You don't care.
I don't think you believe that.
I'm starting to.
My memory's not great of the night, but to my recollection, I spent the evening hiding away. I spent botany club in a cloak, with my head down. I only spoke to Rosalind as she had magic experience that at
Because
least
you
could
woke up
potentially
as a
solve it.
girl?
If you'll allow me to state my point.
Then state it. Don't beat around the bush. Say it.
It was you that I actually trusted to talk about personal anxieties, nothing to even do with official princely business. My own personal upsets, fears, insecurities, frights. Celica, I've been trained my entire life on business end first. You understand that?
Naturally.
Not great with talking my, suppose, own feelings, my own personal dealings, but I did appreciate the conversation we had.
And again, you missed the point. We are friends, Your Highness, but I am also your advisor. At the very least, if I could not talk you out of that conversation, at the very least, I could have been more prepared to back you up.
So I didn't ask you to back me up, Celica. You were there
And why
as
is that? I'm
Any
just
heat
there to
from
what?
this.
Sit there?
So I didn't have to.
You understand that your demeanor in that reflects on all of us.
It
The
reflects
fact
on
that I
me.
was sitting in there not being able to back you up, it makes me look like a pacified dog and not a willing court member.
Phelan is upset with me. I don't think Phelan's going to take... Phelan literally handed me a gift to pass off to Rosalind. Phelan is not upset at our court. Phelan is upset at me, if anything. You were there because I trusted to have you in on that conversation. I wanted you to be informed in the loop. Now that we have both attended the meeting, been caught up, I'm able to discuss with you going forward, am I not? You heard it directly from the headmaster, as did I. Again, I don't believe that the headmaster plays fair in any sense. I want you to be able to back up any words that I heard, you heard.
So then what? You're making yourself a martyr? You believe that by sacrificing yourself that does us any good?
I assure you, I have dwelled on this for days, if not weeks, since the previous conversation I had with Thorn. I have been figuring out how best to navigate this. With how Phelan is playing this, so far, again, I think this is going quite well. I took each precaution I could. Again, bringing knights, bringing you. There are caveats I didn't foresee, certainly. There are certain things that turned out odd. Certain things that the headmaster strangely stuck to. But overall, that was a positive step that was going according to what I expected. And looking positively for us.
I'm too... Even if you bet high to earn low. That... I... I would have liked a little heads up. Is all I'm saying.
I don't foresee
And-
anything that extreme coming up again that I wouldn't give you a heads up on.
I just don't understand what you even gain from this. Sure, we might get points. We might get a multiplier. But even then, it's... How do you know that he'll stick true to his word? It doesn't matter if I witnessed it or not. He still could go back on it.
There's a lot of power in the written word, the contract. I don't believe a lick of anything Phelan's saying because he has nothing to back it up. That's why I had the contracts laid out the way that I did. Because I would like the final contract to reflect it. Something you've witnessed, something I've witnessed, something the headmaster has signed. Something that has backing. If he decides to go back on it, then we have a full contract with as much evidence for signing as possible. It's not something that he can go back on. The world runs on contracts. The written signed word. There's, again, a lot of power in a simple signature. Should Phelan go back on that, then what comes is exclusively as of his own. Please, I ask you as a friend, as well as my advisor. See this from my point of view. Put yourself in my shoes. I suppose consider. Monday, I'm getting to sit into another meeting. You're getting to sit into another meeting. In which our court will be put ahead. Violet will be put exactly on the thin ice that she needs to be. And should any of the other points be considered, we're better off. I understand fully the contract was designed to be ridiculous. I understood that there was some sub-0% chance that it would ever be signed. But we're moving forward. And further, the headmaster knows that this is the lengths that we are willing to go. I'm not going to let a student of mine, a court member, be suspended without me ever overseeing a thing, without me ever getting word of it. I find that unacceptable, and the headmaster damn well knows it now. He wants a leader. He's gotten one. A leader's not going to simply, sit down, take it? Oh no, you've suspended my court member. You're not investigating any actual cause of ours, any actual activity. You simply tell us to figure it out. Well, okay. I'm not that weak-willed. I refuse to be.
I frankly don't even know what to say to you. Even so, how do you know that Phelan will stay silent on this? How do you know he's not already prancing off to, say, his apparently adopted son, telling him that you threw a hissy fit in his office? What guarantee that even if he gives us the multiplier, what if he just chooses not to give us points for that month?
Well, it is a matter of we
You-
had witnesses. We didn't throw a hissy fit. There wasn't even a contract involved.
A ridiculous one.
If Phelan chooses to spread this, talk about it, try and paint me in a bad light, you attended the meeting with me. You know what happened. It wasn't any sort of ridiculous contract, no.
And yet you represent all of us, Your Highness.
We have guards that were stationed outside, not even from our court, that will vouch that you and I attended this meeting. So you're a verified witness. Phelan is 1 to 2. If word spreads, I didn't sign anything, you didn't sign anything. The contract could be entirely fabricated. There's forgeries going around. Point is, he plays dirty. This is the consistent bottom line. If there is somehow evidence that could come up that, no, Vicky, who, by all accounts, by all evidence, has not been here since the 5th of January when they arrived. If there is any evidence, anyone that has ever spoken to her past January 5th, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting to see written record. I'm waiting to see, well, I saw her pass me by. I'm waiting, suppose even just to see her in the flesh and ask.
Hi.
This is from the headmaster. It is supposedly an artifact that will help you with your magic.
Thank you. I have one.
Unfortunate. Well, the headmaster sends his regards regardless.
Thank you.
You mentioned the ride. I'll have to swing by in a bit, but
Yes.
the kingdom building is looking phenomenal.
Agreed. Everyone is really coming together to do it.
Glad to hear.
So, I'll take this and be on my way then.
Very well. I will reach out soon.
Okay.
As I was saying, if there's any evidence that Vicky actually did do this, if I can find out if the headmaster's even written my father, if I can get direct evidence that any of this has actually happened, I'm willing to rescind my word, but far too much is lining up in the space of the headmaster is playing all of us for me not to believe it. And I'm not going to let Bloodwin, I'm not going to let the members here be slandered, scorned, doomed by it. I understand that we as a court are founded on respect. We're founded on expectations. I don't think it's anything light for anyone that was selected to come here. You represent everyone at home. It's a lot of pressure. I don't know how it will go for anyone going back home with a loss. I will stop at nothing to make sure people of my court are protected. And so if the game is being played against us, if we're being slandered, if we have court members running around making us look like moronic idiots, rule breakers, miscreants, then I'm going to seek that's handled. If these miscreants are being actively backed by the headmaster, I'm going to push against it. If innocent people are getting sent home for the actions of someone else, I'm going to fight against that. When I go home, I have something. Even if I don't win the crown here, I go back home and I'm the prince. I will be a sovereign one day. I will continue about my life. If I'm lucky, I'll get to still talk with some of you. Consider you for positions. Invite you over for tea. But here, for the months I've been here, for the months that remain, you are my court, and it is my job to protect. In this case, protect against a unfair competition. Does that make anything clearer?
I understand, Your Highness. However, forgive me for not agreeing that things will go exactly the way that you think that they will. Unfortunately, I don't see this going well for any of us. You are an excellent prince, Your Highness. But if, as you say, people believe us to be miscreants, rule breakers, is that not a failure of our oversight?
I believe it's a failure of the people that Phelan selected to attend here. Again, I have checks to do with my own father and see how the process actually was handled. If 2 heirs were requested, I don't know why my Viscounts wouldn't have been selected, or noted, or sent. There's multiple failure points, and I can't see any one of them actually going wrong, at least not in good faith, because either Phelan horribly messed up, missed a notation of heir, or missed a background check. It would be 2 background checks out of multiple that seemingly just did not go through. I truly do not believe the heirs were on the list. Everything...
And the Viscounts are of noble families?
Yes, that is how we select them. Noble families near my age when I was growing up and stepping into princely duties. Viscounts were appointed.
Regardless, to say that I am furious that you did not even come to me for advising, quite frankly, it shows me a large lack of trust. How am I meant to do my job if you can't even give me the information I need to do it?
Again, I had my reasons that I didn't wish for advisement on this.
And what in the future? Are you going to keep secrets from me in the future? If, say, I do rise to be an advisor back home, what then? Are you going to keep secrets from me that are important? Attempts on your life? Simply because you have other plans? Because you would rather solve it by yourself than trust your fellow man?
If it wasn't clear, I don't personally believe there was an attempt on my life.
So then you waking up in a puddle of your own blood in the middle of a cave, that's
It's not
simply...
where I woke up. It's where I was found. It's where I have evidence, but otherwise I was taken care of. I was in good hands, I was safe. and healthy.
And you believe that makes it better?
Besides that, I hadn't had
I worry about you, Your Highness. And if obscuring the truth from me is what you think is protecting me, you're wrong.
Again, I state that it was one instance here. I do not wish for it to come up again.
And if it does, what then? Hide it from me again?
No. Then check me, because I'm giving you my promise here. I don't wish to keep things from you if they're pertinent. If it is something such as this that I am able to speak of, then yes. And in the future, when you are my advisor at home, everything will go through you regardless. That is the structure of power at home. It works differently here because we only have, what are we, down to 7, 8?
And you simply wish to keep it that way? That
No.
impersonal separation?
No.
That
at home,
tradition at home? You just...
At home it will go through you, and you will have your advising. We will talk everything through. I understand the concern on this occasion. It's something I still need to think on myself, but regardless, I am sorry, Celica. I hope that we'll be able to go forward on better footing.
Just promise me that you won't pull a stunt like this again.
Promise I won't pull a stunt like this again without bringing you in. Is that...
Yes.
Thank
I
you,
am your
Celica.
advisor. I am a DiMartino. I am of Court Bloodwind too. If you get in trouble, I get in trouble too.
And I'll have your back if you are. Otherwise, I'm trying to funnel it up myself. Is there anything else that we should discuss, or would it perhaps be better for
No.
us both to have our own space? I see.
Indeed.
Thank
I
you.
think
Celica.
we should return to this when our emotions are far less heightened.
Certainly. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, but please stop my hair from becoming whiter.
I don't know if it could ever shine brighter.
I'll clean this up. Apologies.
It's alright. Are you fine?
For now. It seems to have loosened its hold for now.
If anything comes up, if there's anything that I suppose magic can help with, please consult Rosalind. Tell her I sent you to
I will.
heighten it, I suppose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, suppose all's well that ends well. Perhaps Celica's right. Maybe she should have been in the loop on this. But No. I think it went exactly as it needed to. We're still gaining 200 points. Phelan knows what I'll actually stand against. And on the bright side, on Sunday I get to attend the Rose Festival at Soul Katarina. I'm standing up for my court. I'm tending to our matters, our needs. What more can I do? Guess right Veswin, see if she's well enough to come back for a week. Let's just talk. I know it wasn't her. I know. But it still feels some sort of way. I've got work to do.